That's a really, really good basketball team we beat tonight, and I'm start off with the job that DeMonte Williams did on arguably a guy I think is the most talented player in our league, in Stevens, and I can say that because he has torched us in my first 2 years here, and DeMonte didn't score a point tonight. I grabbed 4 rebounds. But I was so comfortable with him on the court guarding him. We put a little package together to try to bother him. But Chin Coleman, one of our assistant coaches, had the scout. He got our guys really focused and dialed in. They've been attempting about 28 threes a game and shooting 36%, which is playing at a really, really high clip. And to hold them to 4 threes, I was really proud of that. It was a big, big key to the game. And then, playing very, very small, which we did most of the night to out-rebound them, was a big point of contention. I thought that you see why we miss Io when we didn't have him in the last ball game. He did what really, really good players do. He elevates his game. He makes the right play, and was spectacular tonight and closes games like most players of his caliber do. So a great team. Penn State is a team that's got an opportunity to go very, very deep in postseason play, and we were very fortunate to beat them tonight.
Brad, is this kind of a situation where you guys, we got 2 good teams together, and one's due, and maybe the other one's due?
Well, I told our guys, I said, at shoot around today, we had won 7 in a row, and you become the hunted, and you have a tendency sometimes to maybe not be as sharp or prepare quite as well because it's it's human nature, and now we were on the back end of that, in a couple games we didn't play very well in, and so that table flips. It's human nature, and when you're in the best conference in America with the best coaches, my goodness, a night you don't show up to play, you can lose.
Is it accurate to say you guys were desperate?
No. No, we're not desperate. I mean, we're not even
desperate attitude.
Not even. I think there was some urgency, no doubt about that. But desperate's never in my vocabulary.
Coach, a week ago you sat at the podium and didn't know about Io's future. A week later, for him to do this, how impressive is that? And could you talk about what he had to go through to be ready for tonight?
Well, kudos to Paul Schmidt and Adam Fletcher. The job that they've done. He's practically lived with them. Once we got the news that it wasn't structural, and it was a pretty easy no-go at Rutgers with the ability to straighten it and play. But again, the therapy and those guys doing their job. But more importantly, it's on Io, his mental approach. Most guys could have used this as I'm just coming back, and I've got a built-in excuse. And Io's about winning, and you see that to kind of Mamba mentality that he has. So he worked his tail off. He wants to be out there because he's an unbelievable teammate, and he knows we struggled without him the other night, and it's my hat's off to him.
When did you maybe make the final call on if he'd go tonight?
After shoot around.
Yeah.
After shoot around. I mean, just seeing him go through it and move, and how he was reacting through that, and he was pretty dialed in.
I guess then what kind of maybe led to starting Io with Trent and Andres, a lineup he hadn't played for a couple months?
He's one of our best players. He was going to be in the lineup, and I thought it was about getting back to some level of comfort with Allen in terms of Io was going to be in the lineup. We brought Allen. Allen was terrific in the first half tonight, and but Io's has been sensational on both ends, especially the defensive end. And I felt like tonight, his size was needed and his knowledge and understanding.
Kofi and Georgie both missed a lot of bunnies early in the game. And then in the second half, Kofi had his second consecutive shot clock violation, just not recognizing it. But then he learned from that mistake and he made a crucial bucket on. Can you talk about him keeping with it? Because he recognized the clock was about to run out.
Yeah, I think in the first half we got some options right at the rim, and it was probably my fault talking about Mike's ability to block shots and I think Georgie in particular rushed a couple of those, but Georgie got good looks. Georgie doesn't miss. He made that jump hook at Rutgers the other night, but and then Kofi missed a couple, but he got a nice lob, a late lob. Io threw him a great late lob. He got a couple right around the rim, and Kofi continues to grow in his understanding, and that's the important thing.
Also, you only shot 10. You only attempted 10 threes tonight, and Georgie definitely was holding his trigger on that. But that was certainly part of the game plan, we assume.
Well, you can't shoot 28 like we did at Rutgers and be on the road and expect to win. And that has not been our MO all year long, is shooting a ton of threes. So tonight was pretty much our formula for success.
Coach, I know Io's had a lot of good games in his career. Given the circumstances, the injury and everything on the losing streak,
Easily.
Where does this rank?
Easily. They're right there at the top. That's a top 10 team he did that against on the road. I was told by Derek, we haven't won a top 10 game on the road in 12 years. That's a team that's really had our number in the last few games. Absolutely. That's right there at the top.
Coach, right here. I imagine you watched a lot of Penn State on film with and now without Myron Jones, and tonight was the fourth straight game that he didn't play. What jumps out at you with Penn State when he isn't there versus a night like tonight when he wasn't out there?
I saw him at Michigan State. That was scary. But I think the one thing is he gives them maybe a secondary handler. And I'm as big a fan of Jamari as there is, but he can handle the ball and gives you a different threat from three out there, and then you put him with Lundy, Dredd, Lamar, and now you've got four really, really high-level weapons. Not that Jamari's not, because I think he's one of the toughest nuts in the league. So, but yeah, that's anytime you lose a really good player, and I think overall he's maybe their second or third leading scorer. Over the course of time, you miss that.
Coach, this is a fourth Big Ten road win for you guys. Is this something this team just has, or did you instill something in them to be successful on the road? Maybe
both. I don't know. We'll evaluate that more at the end of the season. I know we've talked a lot in the off season about being able to go do this, win on the road, and the formula's been about the defensive end. So I'm proud of us for that.
To piggyback off of that, in addition to Iowa closing, one of the constants in your road wins has been holding teams down from three. They made 25 in the previous two games. What has been the key there, do you think, for your team?
Really good defense, focusing on it, and I think we made a lot fewer mistakes. We lost Dredd one time in transition in the first half. I think that was their only three. We wanted to make sure, if I'm not mistaken, I think Lundy had 6 twos on the year in league play, and Dredd had 9 twos in the year. We were pretty dialed into making sure that they didn't get threes off.
I guess now that you've been through it, what did you think of the all-access game and being mic'd up for the whole time?
Well, let's see. I got a lecture from my mom. I got a lecture from my agent. I got 3 lectures from my wife. Derek was a nervous wreck. Gosh darn, they didn't give me much credit for having any self-control or anything else. But it's a unique experience, and I think the biggest challenge for me was maybe communicating with the officials. I actually had to tell Terry I really liked him tonight, but I'm kidding. Terry's one of my favorites. So, But it's a different experience, and glad I was able to do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
In the hallway, we'll have Io, Kofi, and Demonte.